going on, fellow collectors? Welcome back. So today we're going to talk about the Killing Joke, the small release to local theaters. Most of us, a lot of us went to it, as I could tell from being in the theater and seeing everybody sitting in it, right? So it played at a lot of local theaters from 7:30 times, from about 7 to 7:30, and then a 10 o'clock time for later in the show. Inspired me to bring the popcorn out. Oh, that's so good. Oh, God, it's so good. I'm going to put the popcorn right there. Oh, God. Okay, so, excuse me, I'm hungry. So, this is my first time actually experiencing one of these bits where you get to go to a theater and watch a limited release film like this that's coming to DVD, as we know, right? So it was a pretty cool experience because whereas the theater would typically be on E as an empty, it was pretty full. It was packed to capacity, and it was cool to see the nerds come out and have everybody sit in the theater and be alongside your fellow comic lovers, your fellow Batman lovers who like truly know the material, the source material and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Hold on, let me, if you don't mind, take a sip of a nice frosty beverage. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, first things first. The show opens up, and there is a you get a little sequence of or a little spill about what DC is doing from the CEO of the DC's movie anime universe or whatever. I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't remember his name. Fuck him. I don't mean fuck him, but I'm just saying I can't remember his name. But he gives a little bit of a spill about how he comes into DC and and his take on the DC movies and what he's brought to the table and what he loves about it. And it's cool because his backdrop is a lot of like statues and busts and things like that, so that's pretty cool. From there, you go into, and it's not going to be a spoiler review. I'm just giving you these bits because this is actually the sequence of events, right? Yeah. So after that, much to the surprise of everyone, you get to hear from Luke Skywalker himself, right? The voice of the Joker, and that's exciting to everyone. So everyone's just applauding and losing their shit. And he's talking about, well, he gives a little bit about his story, how he got into movies, and his first bit going into trying for a movie or whatever the case is, and not actually getting it, but then coming back and being tried out for Luke Skywalker. And then he goes into this big spiel about being the Joker and how he comes about actually retaining that part. And it's really amazing to hear him talk about it, to hear him talk about his insecurities in voicing the role, especially as a follow up to Jack Nicholson's Joker, which he mentions that a buddy of his tells him, "Hey, listen, don't fuck up. You're coming after Jack Nicholson, right?" And he's like, "Oh, there's so much pressure, right?" So that's a pretty cool story from him. A good bit of history from his perspective as the voice of Joker, and it's a good little monologue. It's kind of funny. I really enjoyed it. Now, past all of that, get into the film. I was really excited. Everyone, the atmosphere was electric. Can I say that? I will say it. It was electric. Everyone was excited about it as it came in, and it starts off from the perspective of Batgirl. Most of the movie is from the beginning portions is from the perspective of Batgirl, and I'm not going to lie. In the beginning, as good as it was, as excited as I was, I was kind of concerned because of this first time period that wasn't from the original book. If you read, it's a source material. If you read The Killing Joke, then you're familiar. And I actually had to go back and check some of it, because some things that happened. So the first portion of how they bring you to the Killing Joke story is Batman and Batgirl, or really Batgirl and Batman chasing a specific criminal. He's no one that I can remember from the DC Rose Gallery, but he does play a pretty cool part. He's got a sickness about him. He's like a pre-Joker almost. Like he tunes you up and gets you ready for Joker, but he's not quite Joker-esque, right? So there's this funny relationship between that criminal and Batgirl, which brings about you begin to see that there's something developing between Batgirl and Batman. And I don't want to ruin it for you, but I will say this: this movie, following in suit with Assault on Arkham, is far more sexual than most of the animated stuff you've seen come from DC. It's very violent. Within the first few minutes of it, you see the first chase sequence. You see a couple get smashed by a car and killed. So this one is not playing games. It's not trying to be cute and friendly and stuff like that. They get straight to the killing. There's plenty of killing, plenty of violence, plenty of cursing, not over the top, so much so that it's like, oh my god, why? It's not gratuitous now, but it is sexualized, specifically because of Batgirl and the role she plays and what transpires between Batgirl and Batman, shall I say. So let's just say rooftop, hashtag tap that ass, hashtag bat that ass, hashtag tap that bat. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Oh, so I don't know, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. It's kind of spoiled it just a little bit, but trust me, when it goes down, you will be excited nonetheless. It's like, wow, I did not see that shit coming. Nobody saw what came about. I mean, it was almost to the point where I felt like I needed to go like this. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was well, yeah, all right. So I'm getting past that point. So eventually, we see the end of this sequence of events dealing with this other criminal, and it introduces the Killing Joke storyline that we are familiar with. And again, that first portion of it really had me nervous. I was like, the guy's dragging on, it's dragging on. When are we gonna get to the Joker? Like, I want to get to the Joker, dude. But it does. It comes in, and man, when it comes in, it doesn't miss a beat. It doesn't skip a beat at all. It continues that sexual tension between Batman and Batgirl going into the Killing Joke storyline. And I will say they followed the book like perfectly, like perfect. Like they're page for page, the animation stills or the animation scenes in the movie, they're here. I mean, they couldn't capture obviously every single thing, and they did change up a few things. Like whereas in the book you have, I do believe the Penguin is in the book and not in the movie or whatever, right? But as far as a lot of the scenes here, like the scenes here in the restaurant as it's doing like flashbacks back and forth to Joker's past. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, the cool thing about the Killing Joke is that it does give you a bit of information on Joker's history. It attempts to, anyways, and it's pretty cool. The story continues. If you read the Killing Joke, then you know it's an awesome story. The movie is so well written. At times, it sticks to the source material so well, or it capitalizes on the source material so well, and it's so well written that sometimes it's just a little. It feels a little overly dramatic. Like some of the dialogue is overly dramatic, but it's in itself perfect. I think that if I was sitting at home watching a DVD of this movie or reading it in the book, I wouldn't feel that way. But because I'm in the theater, you kind of expect certain things, and your tolerance is kind of out of whack for it. It's just a weird thing, man. It's like you've been working out all day, your muscles are tight, you're flexed up, and then you have to do another set or something. It's just a weird thing. It's a weird interaction or something. I don't even know if that analogy makes sense to what we're talking about. I don't know. Who gives a fuck? So it's just weird. But the movie continues on. It doesn't skip a beat going into the Killing Joke scene. Into the Killing Joke storyline. It's done well. It's done very well. I'm happy to have been able to see it the way I saw it. I definitely will purchase the DVD because it's done so well. It really just follows the source material really, really, really well. There are some things that I kind of was about the art style. It's like they wanted to take the original Batman animated series art and then they took the Justice League Unlimited art style, and they kind of merged it together, but then at the same time wanted to kind of pay homage to the artwork style from the Killing Joke, and it does it successfully. I'm just not really a big fan of the style. I would have actually preferred to see the art style from Assault on Arkham, because the movie was so sexual in certain portions, that I felt like they should have done it, because there's a sequence, and I'll just throw this out there. There's a sequence where Barbara's running back to her apartment. She's going for a jog, and this shot they get a shot of her ass as she's running, and then the camera rotates up, and it's an ass shot and a tit shot, and then it comes around to the front and she's running, and it's like it wants to catch her lips, like the fullness of her lips and everything like that, right? But because of the art style, you can't really get the fullness. You can't really get the fullness of it, right? It's not as sensual. Had they used the style from the Assault on Arkham, where it was like very, very sexual to the drawing of the women, it would have been perfect for this. So that's kind of a give and take thing. I mean, do you want to capture the original material, or do you want to get caught up in the fan service? Or because that sexual content wasn't that, I don't really remember that being in the book. I have to go back and read it page for page on that one. I don't remember that being there. But that's just one of the things that I had a problem, because and not so much as it applied to everyone else, as much as it applied to Batman and the way he looked. And this is not a spoiler. You can look online and see how Batman looks in this thing. I couldn't get my head around it. It kind of bothered me throughout the whole movie. I was kind of like distracted by the Batman ears, even though it's like a classic look. I was totally distracted by it. Now, the telling of the Joker and the flashbacks to his past and everything, that was done well also. I feel like, and this is an anime. I don't want to get too critical, because this is an animated movie. It's not an actual movie, or it's not a real what do you say, real life movie? Oh, whatever the fuck you say. It's not that, right? So I don't want to get too critical, but there were just certain things that I feel like they should have carried more weight, if that makes sense to you, and it will make sense to you when you see it. Certain things transpire in the movie, and they should carry more weight, because when I read them in the book, it sat with me, and I was like, okay, wow, I understand this. I understand Joker. I understand how this could happen. And the flashback scenes, and the movie was only an hour and a half, so it kind of speeds through certain parts. I think we needed a little more time for the Joker, so you can really grasp why he's so insane. Because just the whole, if you're familiar with the story, yet again I say it, with the whole Red Hood deal and the Nevada chemicals and him coming out and seeing his face, and it drives him crazy. Yeah, that's in the book, but I think the book, because it's written material, it leaves a little more of the interpretation to your imagination, right? So as you're reading the words and you're seeing the scene and you're seeing what led up to that, you can feel the weight of that. Whereas in the movie, having it being acted out, it didn't deliver on that. I didn't believe that he had been through so much that he was just insane all of a sudden, because the scenes that showed what he was going through were just, even though the subject was heavy, the performance wasn't, if that makes sense. Not bad, just it wasn't as heavy as the subject at the time. So that was kind of a thing, and I found myself noticing it, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I think the thing that killed the movie, and not killed it as in it was terrible, but I think the thing that really just screwed it all down and really just took a lot of air out of the balloon was the ending. I'm not going to give you the ending, but I will say, if you read the book, then you know the ending, because they stick straight to it. And for everything that happened, for all the climax, for all the climactic scenes, for all the build up, it to have that be the ending in the movie, it just doesn't work. It needed to be done differently. And let me say this also, for it to be done and to be viewed in theater, it doesn't work. Now, on your DVD player, right? If you Netflix and chill it, or you buy the DVD whenever it comes out, that's not such a big issue because you know you're sitting at home, it's just another animated movie, and if you didn't get your full from it, you can pop in another animated movie from DC, right? But in the theater, you know, you want that payoff. You're used to that payoff. And that's what I mean by things kind of being out of sync. It didn't match up with like what you're actually watching and with the experience you desire and you're used to when you're in a theater seat. When you're in a theater seat, a stadium seat, and you paid your money and you got your popcorn, and you got your Raisinets, you know, and your cool frosty beverage, right? You expect certain things, and I can honestly say that the payoff wasn't there, even though we knew what it was, and it was like it was unanimous throughout the theater because everyone was like, "Oh, really? This is it?" You know what I'm saying? And everybody walking out was talking about the same thing. So I think that's pretty much a universal feel on it. The bit about, and this is I'm gonna have to do a little bit of spoiling here. The bit of where Joker comes in, shoots Barbara, and takes the commissioner. It was great, and you felt for the first time that evil that the Joker is, that you didn't, because you're looking at the art style, you're thinking Batman animated series, you're thinking Justice League. So your level of Joker evil is up here, but it's never crossed that threshold. You dig what I'm saying? In the way you've seen him cross in other animated movies. The art style takes your mind, automatically takes your mind to the animated TV series. So it puts your expectations for Joker's evil on that level. Now, when he comes in and he takes Commissioner Gordon, and then he does what he does to Barbara Gordon, you're like, whoa. Like, wow, like you can't believe, because it was already crazy enough that the whole scene with Batman and, you know, and Batgirl, really, I'm not even going to get into it, but you know what I'm saying, right? I know you know what I'm saying, right? It was crazy enough to have that scene, and I loved it. I was like, yes, do that shit. Like, everybody was like, smack that. You gotta smack that badass Batman, right? You know what I'm saying? But when Joker comes through the door, and it's just a look, you know what I'm saying? It's just a look in Joker's eyes. It's like, this is not the animated series Joker. And here, we're going to prove it to you. And he goes all out. You're like, wow. Now, once we get to like the final sequence of the movie, which is with where Batman, well, actually, where Joker, we're towards the climax of this whole thing, right? And there's a musical number, and it's cool. It's not a terrible thing. I just feel like some of the angles that they use the camera to set on. It's an animated movie, but there's still camera angles, people. So I feel like it should have been a little more intense, a little more just chaotic, because the purpose of this sequence was to drive Commissioner Gordon insane. Towards the end of it, they accomplished that. And then you go towards the final end where you have this deal between Joker and Batman. They're going at it, and then all of a sudden, the air is just pulled out of the balloon. Like, you're ready to blow. Everything's ready to blow. You're waiting for the big explosion, and suddenly we're talking. And then we are laughing. And then the movie is over. So you're like, what the fuck? But there is like a teaser at the end that gives you a bit of pause and lets you know that something else is coming as well. So I'm not going to ruin that. Just stay. And you don't have to wait long. Just stay for the first few minutes of the credits and then you'll see it. But hey, so that's my review of the Batman the Killing Joke theater release. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It made me want to come home, pop some popcorn. I'll popcorn. Don't taste good without the sound. All right. Drink a cool frosty beverage. Subscribe, right? And watch some more animated stuff. Unfortunately, it's like almost 12 o'clock at night, and I gotta get up early in the morning, so it's not gonna happen. So, what's the rating I have for it? I can't give it a solid. I don't want to give it a solid rating of, like, say, a 8 or a 9, because it is around 8 or a 9, right? I'll say that it starts off at an 8.5. Shoots up to oh God, oh, you're gonna get all of that. You're gonna see me do all of that. Shoots up to a 10 at the scene, because it goes to a 10, dude. It goes to a 10. It's on 10, turned all the way up, right? And then it comes back down to about a 7.58 with that ending. And I give it a 7.58 only because I know the source material. Wow. So I have expectations. I went into it hoping, I hope they don't do that ending. Even though that ending is the point of the whole movie, right? Well, the basis of the title. Let's say that. So I was hoping that they didn't do it, but they did do it, and they just took the air out of it. So I'm going to bring it down to a 7.58. 7.58. So on average, it's about an 8. It maintains an 8. So, yeah. Look out for some toy detox, right? Hashtag show us your toys. Brave's toy review. Brave New World on the Instagrams and stuff like that. Also, I'm doing this new thing now where I do a lot of vlogs. I'm busting out vlogs like all day. I like doing it. It's kind of fun. It's not your typical nerd stuff. Some of it is, some of it isn't. I get into politics, I get into social stuff. I'm just talking. I'm just rambling. Just doing me. Hey, guess I got some more motorcycles for my little Figma motorcycle gang. Hey, other than that, I'm out of here. Annie!